Hello everyone, so this is today's newspaper analysis of 27 February 2026 Friday. First page पे है amid war hysteria, Iran and US hold a new round of talks. Iran and United States were holding another round of indirect talks in Geneva on Thursday to try to reach a deal on Tehran nuclear program and potentially avert another war as the US gathers a massive fleet of aircraft and warship in the Middle East. Okay. US President Donald Trump wants a deal to constrain Iran's nuclear program, and he sees an opportunity while the country is struggling at home with the growing dissent following nationwide protest. Iran also hopes to avert war but maintains it has the right to enrich uranium and does not want to discuss other issues like the long-range missile program or support the armed groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. If America attacks Iran, has US military bases in the region would be considered legitimate targets, putting at risk tens of thousands of American service members. Iran has threatened to attack Israel, meaning a regional war could erupt across the Middle East. There would be no victory for anybody. It would be devastating war, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi told India Today in an interview filmed Wednesday just before he flew to Geneva. Since the American bases are scattered through different places in the region, then unfortunately perhaps the whole region would be engaged and be involved. So it is very terrible scenario. The two sides held multiple rounds of talk last year that collapsed when Israel launched 12-day war against Iran in June, and US carried out a heavy strike on its nuclear sites, leaving much of the Iran nuclear program in ruins, even as full extent of damage remains unclear. So this is about Iran and US talks going on. एंड आगे बढ़ते हैं. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz wrapped up his 2-day visit to China with hailing a good cooperation with Beijing and putting an over capacity by the Chinese exporters have had taken a share in the German market. ठीक है. Merz, as his first visit to China as a chancellor, visited Chinese robotics producer. Okay, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Japan city strikes school after mystery donation of pipe repairs. Extraordinarily productive is India and Israel elevate ties. 17 pact signed as Modi and Netanyahu hold talks. Tech key of partnership. India and Israel elevated their ties to a special strategic partnership for peace, innovation and prosperity and signed 17 pact after talks Thursday between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Benjamin Netanyahu, wrapping up what the Israeli Prime Minister called an extraordinary productive and extraordinary moving visit by the Indian Prime Minister. Focus on critical mineral and AI. So ये है हमारा SC ban books issues notice to NCERT director, school education secretary. Calculated move to undermine and demean judiciary needs deeper probe. Coming down heavily on the NCERT, that is National Council of Education, Research and Training, for introducing a section on the corruption in the judiciary in class 8 social science textbook. The Supreme Court Thursday called it a calculated move to undermine and demean dignity of judiciary. It imposed a complete blanket ban on further publication, reprinting or digital dissemination of the book. Taking up a suo motu case in the matter of the Indian Express first reported the content of the new section in the textbook. The bench of CJI Suryakant and बाकी अगला पेज में है. यहाँ पे है deeply saddened. Pradhan says will take action against those involved. Prime Minister Narendra Modi taken a strong exception of the conclusion of the section of corruption in the judiciary in the NCERT social science textbook of the class 8 sources, expressing his anguish at a cabinet meeting held Thursday was to have an union minister, Dharmendra Pradhan, find out who was responsible for this and who should be held accountable. Modi took up the issue at the cabinet meeting, the first to be held at Seva Tirth, the newly constructed PMO. Let's move ahead. Who is our Vice President? C.P. Radhakrishnan. Broken power circuit behind ISRO failed launch of NBS-02 in the Jan 2025 says panel. Okay. What is POSCO? Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. Kerala name has been changed. All eyes on AI. Smoother access for startups. Swifter claim disposal in the latest railway reforms. AI-based elephant intrusion detection system. AI-based fire detection system. And drone-based broken rail detection, rail stress monitoring, sensor-based, AI-based solar panel, and dispute resolution system. Fight against HPV. Starting February 28, all 14-year-old girls and those will be turned 15 in the next 90 years will be eligible to receive a HPV vaccine for the free, according to the instructions provided by the Union Health Ministry to all the states. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will flag off the special nationwide vaccination campaign against HPV, which causes the cervical cancer. The decision to vaccinate the 14-year-old is important considering the persistent HPV infections lead to a majority of cervical cancer cases, which continue to be the second most form of cancer among Indian women, affecting 1.25 lakh and killing 75,000 each year. The vaccine will be made available nearly through 30,000 immunization centers located in the government health center and hospital across the country. These centers are equipped with the cold chain point, staff trained, and giving them shots and facilities for managing any diverse reaction. The vaccine will be available on all days across these centers for the first 90 days of the campaign. Following this period, the vaccine will be available at the same centers on the routine immunization says usually twice a week. An estimation of 1% of the state population is considered to be eligible age based on the circulation. Any girl aged 14 or turning 15 within 90 days from the launch of the campaign can receive the vaccine. Parents and guardians can give consent on the UWIN app or on a hard copy in the absence of internet. A girl with moderate to severe illness or previous allergic reactions or to the vaccine allergic should avoid vaccination, and girl outside the target age pregnant individual or those who have previously such as are not eligible. Girl can walk. What are the guidelines? The girl can walk with their parent or book an appointment through the UWIN app, and breakfast is recommended before vaccination, and the centers should provide refreshment for those empty stomach. Girl must stay for 30 minutes at the center to monitor the adverse reactions, and expected reactions include the pen, redness, fever, headache. Center are equipped for the serious allergic reactions. तो इसमें नाम क्या क्या है, तो इट इज़ गार्डसिल 4, गार्डसिल 9 एंड सेरावैक. You must remember the name also. Okay, moving ahead. This is about Ravli Hills. Oh, this article is written by our PM Narendra Modi. Two democracies shaped by history, a partnership that helps the global stability. इंडिया एंड इसराइल के बारे में है. अब्राहम एकॉर्ड, कीवर्ड्स देख लेते हैं. अब्राहम एकॉर्ड है. In 9 years ago, I had good fortune to be the first Prime Minister of India to visit Israel, and I am very happy to be here again, returning to a land which I have always felt drawn. After all, I was born in the same day that the India formally recognized Israel, September 17, 1950. I carry with me the deepest condolences of the people of India for every life lost and every family whose world was shattered on the barbaric terrorist attack on the Hamas on October 7, 2023. We feel your pain. We share your grief. India stands with Israel firmly with the full conviction in the moment and beyond. India has also endured the pain of terrorism for a long time. We remember the 26/11 Mumbai attack and innocent lives lost, including the Israeli citizens like you. We have consistent and uncompromising policy of zero tolerance for the terrorism and no double standard. Countering the terrorism requires sustained and coordinated global action because terror anywhere threatens peace everywhere. Some years ago, you have concluded the Abraham Accords. We applauded your courage and vision. It was a moment of a new hope for a long troubled region. Since then, the situation has changed significantly. The path is even more challenging. Yet it is important to sustain that hope. The Gaza Peace Initiative, endorsed by the UNSC, offers a pathway. India has expressed its firm support. We believe it holds the promise of just, durable peace for all the people of the region, including addressing the Palestine issue. In India, there is a great admiration for Israeli resolve, courage, and achievement long before we related to each other as the modern states. We were linked by the ties that go back more than 2000 years. The Talmud record trade with the India in the ancient time. The Jewish merchants traveled across sea routes and connected with the Mediterranean with the Indian Ocean. They came seeking opportunity and dignity, and in India, they became one of us. Jewish communities have lived in India without fear of persecution or discrimination. The Bean Israel of Maharashtra, the all this enriched India. Edwin Mayers gave shape to the film's division of India and towering figure. Walter Conman composed the signature of All India Radio. David Sasson will many institutions. There was a movement from India to Israel too. When many Indian Jews migrated to Israel in mid-20th century, today a vibrant Indian origin Jewish community lived here. They are contributing the building the modern Israel in laboratories, in hospital, in classrooms, and also in the battlefield. India's connection to this land is also written in blood and sacrifice. During World War I, more than 4,000 Indian soldiers laid down their lives in this region, and the cavalry. After India's independence, many Indians felt a kinship with the people of Israel. India's parliamentary debates of the 1950s witnessed their admiration of Israel's effort to develop the agriculture in the desert. In 2017, our two countries elevated their relationship as a strategic partnership. Since then, our engagement has expanded in scale and scope. For the last few years, India has been the fastest growing major economy in the world, and at the same time, Israel is the powerhouse of innovation and technological leadership. This creates a natural foundation for a forward looking partnership. We are committed to expanding the trade, the strengthening investment flows, and promoting joint infrastructure development. The bilateral investment treaty signed last year will provide a confidence and predictability to our businesses. Our team are working hard to negotiate an ambitious free trade agreement. Defense and security is another important pillar of our partnership. At the heart of the India-Israel partnership are the ties between our people, Indian caregiver and skilled workers in Israel contribute immensely to the families and communities. They have displayed remarkable courage and dedication in the times of crisis. Whoever saves one life saves the entire world. We both are ancient civilizations, and it is perhaps no surprise that our civilization traditions also reveal philosophical parallels. In Israel, the principle of Tikkun Olam, speaking of healing the world. In India, Vasudeva Kutumbakam affirms that the world is one family. Judaism emphasizes halakha, guiding everyday conduct through law and practice. Hindu philosophy speaks of dharma, the moral order that shapes the duty and the right action. In both, traditional ethical life is lived through action and the faith expressed throughout conduct. There is an endearing similarity in our festivals as well. You celebrate Hanukkah with the warm glows of candles around the time. We celebrate Diwali with the gentle radiance of lamps. Soon India will celebrate Holi, and around the same time Israel will celebrate Purim. Our shared ideas and the deep foundations give us strength to the modern partnership. We are democracy saved by the history and focused on the future. Our strong partnership not only serves nation interest but also contribute to the global stability and prosperity. Let us ensure that the friendship between India and Israel remain a source of strength in the uncertain world. So this was all आर्टिकल अराउंड दिस. ओके, आगे बढ़ते हैं, दूसरा आर्टिकल देखते हैं. The quote textbook lesson much needed. A middle school classroom is a space of inquiry, not an arena of institutional power play. That's why the new NCERT Social Science book of Class 8 invites the question of a bad faith. After a report in the newspaper revealed its content, the Supreme Court, led by the Chief Justice Surya Kant, rightly stepped up the red flag. It is ensuring that education. Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan has expressed regret, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken for the need of accountability. The issue of public corruption is urgent, and that judicial corruption even more. As the system centerpiece, the judiciary is tasked with keeping all other institutions honest and committed to the constitutional morality. Over the year, SC judges have themselves underlined the importance of judicial probity. Indeed, the section of the textbook quotes former Chief Justice B.R. Gavai. Sadly, there have been instances of corruption and misconduct that have surfaced even within the judiciary, potentially eroding faith in the integrity of the system as a whole. The judiciary's seminal position and for the inclusion of judicial corruption in the latest. Okay, so this is certainly about the case which is going on. We can move ahead. We need to talk about the judicial corruption. The NCERT New Social Transparency International का report है. And as the judiciary is not above the scrutiny and is accountable for the people, there is no doubt that inclusion of references of judicial corruption is keeping with the constitutional values. Judicial corruption must be properly understood and openly discussed. Only through the public discourse can be meaningful corrective measures can be implemented. The more the judiciary tries to suppress discussion or the restrict access of the information, the more distrust is likely to grow in the minds of citizens. As the judiciary is not above the scrutiny and accountability. This is about the cervical cancer that we have seen कि 14 साल की जो 9 to 14 गर्ल चाइल्ड है उनको लेना है वैक्सीन्स. Human papilloma virus. Single of Gardasil. Manufactured by Mark and Co. Okay, so we need to remember who is the manufacturer of Gardasil 4 is Mark and Co. Okay, let's move ahead. अब तो ज़्यादा कुछ इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है. This is about India's urbanization stories entering a decisive phase, and the cities today account for the dominant share of the country's GDP, host almost a dynamic economic cluster, and increasingly shape the quality of life of the millions. Yet, they also face the persistent infrastructure deficit, climate vulnerabilities, fiscal constraint, and institutional fragmentation. The challenges is to urbanize productivity, sustain, and urbanize inclusively. The recent approved Urban Challenge Fund represents a significant shift with a central assistance outlay of 1 lakh crore over financial year. Okay, so this is much detail which is not at all required for the exam. Moving ahead, I think we are done. कुछ इम्पोर्टेंट तो नहीं लग रहा है मुझे. Rare earth, semiconductor, 17 एलिमेंट है रेयर अर्थ में. This is about India and Canada ties. Okay, so इसमें और भी आर्टिकल्स आएंगे that we will see जब आएगा. ये सिक्योरिटी में प्रहार है. इन प्रहार लाइज इंडियाज कंसोलिडेटेड स्ट्रेटजी ऑफ काउंटर टेररिज्म ऑपरेशंस. The Ministry of Home Affairs Monday unveiled India's first publicly articulated national counter-terrorism strategy document, Prahar. The 8-page document outlines the comprehensive framework for India's approach to terrorism, as well as the steps taken over the years and the plans for the future. Many of the measures listed are not new, but comprise ongoing initiatives of the Home Ministry of Law. Enforcement agencies are already in force through laws and unlawful activities. Prahar situates India's terrorism challenges in Indian landscape shaped by decades of the cross-border violence, global jihadist network, and accelerating the use of technology including drones, encrypted communication, and cyber attack, while avoiding a narrow focus on any single theater. What makes Prahar different? Prahar proposes a 7-pillar response: intelligence-led prevention and real-time inter-agency coordination to disrupt the propaganda and the slipper self-funding and arms network. Swift, proportionate response led by the local police and backed by the specialized counter forces. Aggregation of special capacities through police modernization, adherence to the human right and rule of law, grade de-radicalization, and community engagement with the attention of youth and women, alignment of international cooperation through intelligence sharing, legal assistance, and multilateral recovery and resilience through approach. Prahar mainly focuses mainly on the cross-border and jihadi terrorism, while Western strategies explicitly address the extreme right wing and hybrid. Okay. Prahar stresses on the rule of law but does not embed the public reporting. Okay. So I think that's all for today's newspaper. So sports is not that important. Okay. Thank you.